From the Alvin and Rosalie Sarachek studio, PBS Kansas presents Ageless Enthusiasm. Coming up on this episode of Ageless Enthusiasm, we're going to hear from someone in the personal protection industry.
Be aware. People think, well, I go to work, the people I work with are friendly, I have a good relationship with them, and there's not a whole lot that I need to worry about.
I also check in at Rainier Arms Firearms Academy to find out more about our options for non-lethal devices and weaponry. I'm Mindy East. All that is coming up on this episode of Ageless Enthusiasm. Welcome to Ageless Enthusiasm. I'm your host, Mindy East, and I'm so excited to introduce to you a very special guest, Joe Shalacy of A&E's First 48. Joe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
So you are a homicide detective.
I am.
Undercover narcotics officer.
I was.
You worked the meanest streets of Miami for over 30 years.
I did.
And you're also the author of the book, Inside My Prison of Darkness,
Yes.
about your struggle with PTSD.
Correct.
We're honored that you would join us today. So.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you so much. Anytime I get a chance to give back and share some experiences to help people, I'm on cloud nine.
Well, I know that safety is one of your passions.
It's my absolute passion.
What are some things that we can do to stay safe in our homes and in our workplaces?
Have a plan. Plan ahead. Don't get caught off guard and now you don't know what to do. And that plan may just be seconds. It may be milliseconds, what you're going to do if something does happen to you.
I've done that. I check my surroundings.
Uh-huh.
I make sure that I know where the exits are.
That's right.
And I know you said one time, I heard you say that if someone is following you or observing you in a manner that makes you feel uncomfortable, the best thing that you can do to protect yourself is have eye contact.
Just had this happen last week. I had a gentleman who got out of a truck and for whatever reason, whatever his motive was, his motives were, decided he wanted to follow me. And what I did immediately was lock in on him. And as soon as I locked in and let him know that I meant business, he backed away. The key to the public is 99.9% of the time, the criminal element wants that element of surprise. And if you take that away from him or her, they don't want to go to jail. You'll probably cease those actions immediately.
Well, and also, doesn't it send a very clear message that now I can identify you because I've got an eye on you?
Well, not only that, but it also sends the message, and I love to teach this to people, that you're just not the person to be reckoned with. And that's why I tell people whenever they leave their cars, their homes, an office, walk with purpose. Let the world know, hey world, I'm here. I'm not the one to be messed with. And you portray that self-confidence to the criminal element, they're not going to want to mess with you because they don't want to get caught. Mm-hmm. And to be frank, they don't want to be challenged if they attack you.
Mm-hmm. Well, here on Ageless Enthusiasm, it's all about redefining life, health, and happiness over 50. And one of the reasons why we need to stay sharp mentally and physically is so that we can protect ourselves.
I love that because obviously I'm over 50. So there's an investment for me. But also, I think our most vulnerable demographic is the people that are over 50. I use myself as an example. I'm at the prime of my life, and I'm at the time of my life where I'm a little bit more lackadaisical. Things are really well. So it would be easy for me to let my guard down. you know, and I constantly tell myself not to do that because that's when I'm most vulnerable. I don't want your audience and I don't want the public to feel that they have to live in fear or they have to be paranoid, but you should be aware because, you know, when you're not, that's when things are going to go bad for you.
And speaking of awareness, haven't you said one of the best things you can do to stay safe in your neighborhood is get to know your neighbors?
Absolutely. The best neighborhood, the best, very best neighborhoods are the neighborhoods that have a crime watch. Like my neighborhood, we just met with the chief of police to discuss concerns with the homeowners association, with other neighbors, to just band together and let the criminal element know that we're a tight fit operation. You know, this is not the neighborhood to come in and commit, you know, your crime. It's just not, because we stick together, we call each other, we hand out emails, and the bottom line is we love and look out for each other.
So the workplace, what can we do to stay safe on the job?
Well, again, to be aware. You know, people think, well, I go to work, I'm concentrating on my work, the people I work with are friendly, I have a good relationship with them, and there's not a whole lot that I need to worry about. But in all actuality, workplace is a place to worry. And I'll tell you, the biggest offenders are the bulliers, the gossipers. And it's just the wrong thing to do because it festers bad feelings. You know, you have people that'll just boil over. Some people, unfortunately, will lose their jobs. So, you know, you need to be aware of all elements. And I tell you, the best way to curtail any of that is just to care for each other and look out for each other.
Besides safety, you're very passionate about faith, family, and your freedom.
That's putting it pretty mildly.
I know. Tell me a little bit about what are some of the fun things that you enjoy doing during your downtime?
The biggest pleasure I get out of life is obviously my family. And over the last several years, my soulmate, my reason for existing, has got my family back to my roots of Catholicism. And we're back in the church. We're very active. As a matter of fact, I was at the church this morning volunteering some time on how I can make a difference with not only the church, but the school that my beautiful wife is teaching at. She's a kindergarten teacher. So my life is enveloped, truly enveloped around the church, around the school, and everything that's associated with it. And of course, most importantly, Jesus Christ.
Well, you just mentioned your better half.
Yes.
And you know that expression, behind every successful man. How would you finish that?
Is the most daring, supportive, loving, caring, and smart lady.
I've heard behind every successful man is a very surprised mother-in-law.
Trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of truth behind that. I have an amazing mother-in-law, and you just brought an amazing smile to my face.
Joe, don't go anywhere. We're going to come back to you in just a minute. But first, we're going to hear from someone in the personal protection industry. We're here now at Rainier Arms Firearms Academy to find out more about our options for non-lethal devices and weaponry. I'm here with an industry expert, Lance Powers, who's the founder and the master
core instructor of Operatus. That's
so
right.
Lance, tell us, what is Operatus?
Our core focus is bringing people into a space and helping them learn what's available to them that will be effective for their training needs in relationship to their lifestyle.
So Lance, I'm a viewer. I'm sitting at home wondering if this is right for me. What reassurance would I have that I'm coming to the right place?
We want you to feel comfortable, but we're great at listening. We're also great at communicating. We want to know what your lifestyle is, what challenges you maybe have faced in the past, and then we want you to feel comfortable with our recommendations. That's why we're big on safety. That's why we're big on making sure that regardless of who you are or where you come from, that time is spent with you so that you're comfortable in your final decision.
Tell us a little bit about the options. If someone's not ready to commit to carrying a firearm, what are some of the other options available?
The best way to start is to look at your options from a non-lethal standpoint as well as a lethal standpoint, because anyone that's in the industry understands that a non-lethal response is normally not effective against a lethal attack. But again, the ultimate and the only solution should not be a lethal response to a potential attack.
So in my mind, a non-lethal device would be throwing a box of bullets at someone, but that's not what you're talking about.
No, that's incorrect. At Operatus, our mindset is we believe that devices can be more effective unless you've trained with Bruce Lee for 20 years. There's a lot of new tech in the space that allow you to shut down a threat, save a life, versus pulling your primary weapon out and taking a life. We believe in every option possible.
Lance, of course, our show goes out all over Kansas. What does someone need to look for in a training academy to know they're at the right place?
I would say diversification of services provided. I would also look at who the director of training is, look at credentials. Everyone at Operatus what we do, we're vetted. Our credentials are normally posted on our website. We know the guys at Rainier, they're very vetted too, because experience saves lives. And so that would be my primary recommendation.
So let's explore what an indoor firearms academy is all about. Give us an idea of what some non-lethal options would be.
A great non-lethal option that we would recommend, and this is where technology and communication comes into play. This is a unit that can be carried in your purse, on your keychain. What's unique about it is once you shoot the juice, it shoots a hard stream so you don't get blowback. It's also USB supported. It'll send out a mobile app alert so all of your friends, loved ones know that you're in trouble. And then one reason that we selected this, under $10 a month, there's a company that will monitor that. Once you deploy the OC on the threat, law enforcement will be deployed to the scene.
With Andy Chadilla, who is the Director of Training at Rainier. Andy, tell us a little bit, what did we just witness in there?
This right here is going to be our recreational range. We got 3 bays that have 8 lanes total. Folks just come in here on their own, shoot their firearms. They can shoot our firearms if they want to, some of our rental guns, but it's all about just kind of building confidence in their abilities with shooting.
Anybody can come here and learn, especially women who are in a group, they go through training, right?
Yes.
And then you bring them in here so they can have some practical, hands-on experience.
Yes. We have several ladies-only courses or events that we put on. But one of our favorite ones and most popular is going to be our ladies-only handgun fundamentals. And that's a class where they have an opportunity to really understand handguns in general, do some crack out with them, kind of get comfortable with them before we go out to the range, and then they end up shooting 12 different guns in that course.
And what a confidence builder for someone who's living alone or who travels a lot, just to have that security, knowing they can prevent an attack or a crime.
For sure. Yeah. They definitely walk away with a lot of confidence.
Well, we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
And now, with a female perspective on safety, my next guest is Anitra Huerta.
Hi there.
Hi, Anitra. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted you to be on because you have a gun permit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a conceal and carry?
I do. I have a conceal and carry, yes.
So was there a pivotal moment that made you realize that you wanted to protect yourself?
Sure. I was preparing in my life for a big loss, and in the preparations of that, I was thinking at some point I'm going to be alone, and I wanted to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I already owned a firearm, and so I thought, wow, now is the time to really dive in, learn how to use this tool, and be a considerate community member and learn how to be safe with it as well.
Well, and there's so many changes, unfortunately, that start to happen after 50, and losing a spouse can be one of them, which is probably the most devastating.
Yes.
So you suffered the loss of your husband, but you had the wherewithal to realize, okay, I need to think ahead and prepare. That was an excellent move on your part.
Right. No one goes into life having a plan B, but unfortunately, we do have to have a plan B. And my journey in life worked into plan B, and that came along with finding new hobbies and finding ways to entertain myself and be safe about it too.
Anitra, did you grow up around firearms or hunting with your dad?
I didn't. We didn't have firearms in the home when I was growing up. I think that my parents weren't comfortable, and it wasn't a popular topic. It was just like no nonsense. We just went about our day. We didn't have any firearms. But it wasn't until I came into a position where I would be living by myself, being taken care of by myself, going to and from the home, going to and from the house in the dark. I thought,
Better be prepared.
I'm going to be prepared, yes.
Good for you. So tell me, what was that like the first time you fired an actual gun if you weren't raised around firearms?
Yeah, so it was a little nerve-wracking. This is a tool that goes boom really loud, and it's unexpected when it does go off. It brings a lot of anxiety. And I've had a lot of women experience that anxiety, but step by step, you can get through it. And the more that you do it, the more comfortable you are with it.
I'm sure it's just like learning to drive a car.
Absolutely.
Or any skill. You just have to take the steps one at a time, and then you eventually master it.
That's right.
So Nitra, if I'm just thinking about, what would it be like to have my own firearm? Do I have to own one to come out and be part of one of those groups you mentioned at Rainier?
You don't. As a matter of fact, they have private lessons, private training, and then we do have our Let Angels group at the range for any skill set. You don't have to have your own firearm. You can rent firearms there. Can come, try those things out, see if you like it. Maybe it's something you will fall in love with like I did, or maybe it's something that's not for you, and that's okay too.
So you mentioned Let Angels. That's the name of your group?
Your
girls group? That's cute.
Yeah, I call it my own girls gang.
Oh.
And it's women of all ages, all skill set. And we invite new people every single month to join us. And I have about 25 to 30 women every month join.
Wow.
And usually there's about 10 of them who have never handled a firearm before.
And so you said you do other things outside of the firing range.
Yeah.
This is a group that you've moved forward and
Absolutely.
enjoy.
Definitely a girl tribe.
That's cool. I love that. Plus you're pistol packing mamas.
That's right. Yeah,
so
we
nobody
are.
better mess with you.
No.
I can see the confidence and how this has empowered you. Can you tell me about someone else in your group that maybe had a similar impactful experience?
Sure. So when this group started, I invited all the women that I love and care about, that I wanted them to feel empowered and educated as well. So my mom and my aunt started coming to my Let Angels group. And my mom had not owned a firearm for many, many years. Now she owns 3. Now my aunt owns several, and they come every single month, and you'll occasionally find them there during the week, having some range time with one another, spending time together and practicing on the range.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. And then what other hobbies and interests did you have to pivot?
So in the realm of being independent, I also always had the aspiration to learning how to ride a motorcycle. So I took a rider's safety course here at our local dealership and learned how to ride a motorcycle.
Okay, and you are a Harley owner, is that right?
I am. I just got a new bike recently, so it's super
Wow.
exciting. This is my 3rd Harley, and so it's been exciting.
Wow. And I understand you recently participated in the toy run.
Yeah, the Wichita Toy Run here in downtown Wichita. There was 2,800 of my closest motorcycle friends, and we took the long 11-mile jaunt to Hartman Arena, packed down with toys for our local community.
Oh, You know, it's so important to give back, and I think especially after we've suffered a loss, we realize how important it is to help other people.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something about being independent, and I read a statistic that said 50% of women over 50 are single. So that is amazing that there are so many of us that are single, and we can't expect for a government or a family or a man to always be there to take care of us. So I appreciate the fact that you stepped out in faith and took something upon yourself to protect yourself.
Absolutely. I have a personal mantra that I live by, and that is that your own personal safety is your own responsibility. In the instance of a civil unrest anywhere, and I've witnessed it here in our local drugstore, that you're not always going to have a law enforcement or, say, a large gentleman with you to take care of you. So your personal safety is your own responsibility.
Wow. And you also have a wide circle of female friends that encircle you with kind of your tribe, your vibe tribe. Tell me how important it is to have friends.
Oh, it's amazing to have other women around you that support you and uplift you, and that you can support and uplift as well. We've formed our own group at our local firearms academy, and we train together. We are on social media together. We have our own text groups, and we just encourage one another all the time.
That's so important, because those females, we don't always experience that in life. Sometimes, we feel like people are trying to push us down rather than lift us up. I've asked some other guests this question, so I have to ask you too.
Okay.
What does it mean to say, stay in your own lane? Since you're riding a Harley, what do you think of when I say that?
Stay in your own lane. I would have to say that being mindful of your own self and how you make those around you feel.
Oh, that's a great answer. I love that. In closing, tell me just briefly about Rainier Firearms Academy.
So I started going to Attack Thursday, and then I took handgun fundamentals, and then I took a defensive handgun class, and then just built on my portfolio of training there. A couple of girlfriends of mine, we joined forces in education of other women, and we started our own women's group, empowering and educating other women in the Wichita area. And we meet every Tuesday of the month, last Tuesday of the month, as supporters of one another, of like-minded women, encouraging one another in the education of firearms.
Well, I appreciate you sharing so much information that we might not have known otherwise, Anitra. So
thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
Now we're back with Joe again. And this has been such an interesting conversation. It's been fun, but it's a very serious topic. But I want to hear more about, how did your faith play a huge part in shaping your purpose?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, God has his purpose for everybody. And I know deep within the core of my heart that my purpose is to share my experiences, as bad as they were, with others, so they don't have to isolate themselves or find themselves in such a dark place that I was, by, just communicating. It's called talk therapy. And then, of course, trusting that the Lord is with you, will always be with you, and guide you down the right path.
So what do you do to keep yourself on this path?
Well, I have an amazing family, both in Florida and here in Wichita. I have an 8-year-old son that definitely keeps me on my heels, and keeps my heart young and vibrant, and just keeps me moving.
Kids are the best.
They're the very best.
Yes. And grandkids are amazing.
Well, I've been fortunate that my daughter has moved from Miami to Wichita, and now I have my grandson here from Florida that's living with me, so I get to see him, and he's 3 every day.
So your world keeps getting bigger and brighter and better.
It does, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be here on the show.
And thank you for joining us on Ageless Enthusiasm.